Welcome, everyone, to Sin City. Welcome to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, race 3 of 25 in the Winstel Cup Series season. We're here in Nevada, just north of the Las Vegas Strip in downtown Las Vegas itself. Qualifying underway, but it's time to get down to action here for the UAW Daimler-Chrysler 400. I'm Carmen, Sienna, alongside me in the production booth, Anity Pulsatrix, to bring you today's action here. It's Avian on Touch covering the Winstel Cup Series in the chase for the Winstel Cup. 43 drivers gonna try to roll the dice and gamble and get a race win here early this season. The bigger question going in is who can stop Brandon McKissick. He's won the last 2 races here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He's been unstoppable here in Nevada. Right now, we're looking at the 0 car as everything gets lined up here. This is Alex Choka coming down pit lane. He qualified P6 so far. It's all tentative because everyone's still running laps at the moment. Here comes the 13 of Ryan Doucette, who had a really decent run last time out, last weekend. His run good enough so far for the 15th position. Brandon McKissick, your defending winner here in Las Vegas, in the wall. I don't know if that's a lap time that's been started or not. If so, that is an invalid lap time. We'll find out. He's still rolling like he's still on a warm-up lap, so this should still count for him. He's starting his lap now. Actually, his lap time didn't get disqualified there. That was a valid lap time of 29.631, enough for 11 so far. So he slowed down, but it didn't invalidate his lap time, which is very, very lucky for Brandon McKissick. Jordan Barabee, the 04 machine, rolling around the racetrack here, trying to get on the board, having to qualify his way in. He goes 17th fastest. Not bad ever for the 04 team that has made the last 2 races here in Winstel competition. Car on track here. This is the 55 of Craig Lautenschlager in that Monte Carlo, sitting on pit lane. He will not qualify. He will start at the back of the field as he has the previous 2 races this season. Lautenschlager just trying to stay out of trouble. It has been easier said than done. As you see him sitting at the end of pit lane, view of the 1.5 mile oval here in Las Vegas. Very scenic. You see the mountains off in the background, sitting in the northern metro Las Vegas area here. Prime real estate for an amazing racetrack here. You see the weather on the right side of your screen. Not a lot of wind, less than 3 miles an hour on the wind speed, 21% humidity, as you would expect from a place in the desert here in Nevada. Air temp and track temp, not terrible, all things considered. 71 degrees Fahrenheit, the track temp, 21 degrees Celsius, you can see on your screen there. Track temp, which is the second number, 30 degrees centigrade or 86 degrees Fahrenheit, if you want to read that in 2 different ways. So, pretty decent track conditions here in Las Vegas, and that's going to provide these drivers a decent amount of grip. These tires will be able to get into a sweet spot and stay there longer. Very different from what we saw a week ago. We go from the scorching hot racetrack in Fontana to very reasonable temperatures here in Las Vegas. Next weekend, we had the Bristol Motor Speedway. So the punches keep coming here in the Winstel Cup Series. Qualifying is concluded. It is Jacob Potak and Larry Pace that'll be your front row here for the UAW Daimler-Chrysler 400. We'll go over the starting grid a little bit better in just a few minutes' time. Here's your qualifying results actually right now. Potak, Pace, Ryan Hill, Jonathan Hernandez sitting in your first 2 rows there. Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe, Kyle Benson, Christian Budd, Christina Ryan, and Austin Reedy will be your top 10 ahead of Chilcutt. Your defending race winner, Brandon McKissick, Jose Solis Jr., Lucas Davila, who didn't make it in qualifying for Fontana, back on track here in Vegas. Mike Rasmus, Anthony Krobach, row 8. Jordan Barabee and Kirk Marble in row number 9. Evan Locke and Ryan Doucette will be in row 10. Rounding out your top half of the field, Edmund Ellison, excuse me, sitting in row number 11 alongside Brandon Coppinger. Ellison making his first start in the Winstel competition here this season, replacing Rory Collins in that 23 car. Andrew Ratcliffe in the 19 alongside Steve Brown in row number 12. Gabriel Mauricio and Brendan McGee, bad qualifying performances for them. They're in row 13 ahead of Tom Willett and Philip Snipes. Evan Melanson and Brandon Cruz will round out row 15 in this field. As we look further on down the order, Nicholas Doucette, Craig Lautenslager, in row number 16. Alex Bates, Sean Pellig in row number 17. Corey Cook and Tyler Murray, row 18. Last car to qualify sits in row 18. It is Matt Skipper alongside Andrew Ferrinares. Jeremy Davis and Parker Alexander did not qualify. You'll see 4 more that did not qualify as well. Roy Collins, I don't believe in this race officially. I believe one of those that failed to qualify. It's Griesbaum, Champeau, and Steinhauser. The 43 cars that will be in this field. Roy Collins, one of those that failed to qualify. Just making sure that that is the case here, so give me one moment. Running on board right now with the 4, Jeremy Davis. Davis trying to fill the large shoes of Tyler Head in that Lucas Oil number 4. Right now on track with Evan Melanson. Right now here, this is warm-up series. So right now what's going on, drivers obviously warming up, getting things out in here. There's also a driver's meeting going on. There's important messages being relayed to all 43 drivers in this field, keeping them sort of in loop as far as how today is going to go. Any important notes, stuff like that. Looking at Austin Reedy in the 77. New look for this car. Mobile 1 on the Penske machine. So the rookie stripes there as well. There's the 66 of Brandon Coppinger, who's made, technically, so information at the bottom is going to be a little bit incorrect here. He's made all 3 races so far this season: Daytona, Fontana, and here in Las Vegas. Coppinger obviously very much caught the attention of all of us here in AVN at Daytona. Finished the race with a car with a 30-degree skew after being involved in a massive crash. Fontana last week went a lot better for the 66 team, hoping to build on that performance here in Vegas so far. Top of the board right now, looking at how things are sitting in the warm-up session here. Right now we're looking at Nicholas Doucette and Jordan Barabee. Barabee, center of your screen, top 2 cars in the warm-up session here. Barabee showing a lot of good speed in that 04 car. We didn't get to see a lot of it from him last week. We are getting to see that from him now. Fastest driver on track at the moment. Center of your screen, that's that DuPont 24 of Nick Doucette. Fastest lap, 185.23 miles an hour. That is the equivalent of 29.59 seconds here at Las Vegas. And the countdown to the start of the race. Less than 20 seconds now here for the UAW Daimler-Chrysler 400. For those tuning in and watching us live here on Twitch, we do have a predictions counter right now going on. We're at 16 minutes left in the prediction counter. Predict who you think's going to win. Use your channel points if you're live on Twitch to make your predictions. You've got 16 minutes to do so. If you're watching this on YouTube on demand, join us for one of these live races. We go live Sunday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. But now it is showtime for 43 cars in this field. Going to be very exciting to get everything underway. As we mentioned before, Jacob Potek, Larry Pace, front of the field. Larry Pace, pole sitter in Fontana a week ago. Now it is the 22's turn. Jacob Potek will try to do even better here. '22's been on a hot streak as well. Ryan Hill, the 7. The Harrah's number 7 in 3rd. Jonathan Hernandez, the 25, will start 4th. Dylan Roberts, Emily Howe, former teammates, not anymore. Dylan Roberts moving to the 6th, replacing Mike Rasmus in that machine. It's Powell, Benson, and Christian Budd in row number 4. Christina Ryan and Austin Reedy, top 10. 2 of their best qualifying efforts so far this season. For Christina Ryan, almost a career best qualifying effort in the Winstel Cup Series competition. So we have Potek, Pace, Hill, Hernandez, Roberts, Howell, Benson, Budd, Ryan, Reedy, your top 10. All eyes are going to be on a couple different drivers to try to move through this field. McKissick starting 12th, defending winner of this race. He's won the last 2 here in Vegas in a row. Jose Solis Jr. going to try to be one of those that stops him. Keep an eye on your defending champion, Christian Budd, the 17. He's going to try to make something happen here. Also keep an eye on the 48 of Sean Peleg. He finished this race 2nd a year ago. He's got a lot of work to do to make that happen there. Peleg starts in 34th here this afternoon. Nicholas Doucette, Brandon Cruz are also beyond the 30th position. You see Doucette in the 24 just up the road there, the Hendrick Motorsports duo, and the Dayglow numbers there. They've got a lot of work to do, as does Craig Lautenslager in the 99. We got 43 cars ready to go. Everyone getting ready to run for 2 formation laps. Everyone having a chance to get tires up to temperature. Remember, this track is a lot cooler than what it was in Fontana a week ago. You're going to need the extra time to get the tires up to temperature. Once they get up to that optimal range, they'll be able to sit there a little bit longer. It's just a matter of getting them to that point. That being said, important rules of the race here. A lot more grip requires a lot more patience. You have the ability to make magic happen. If you fail at making a move, it's not the end of the world. You can regather it and try again. And that's what you're going to see here this afternoon. It's not going to be as slippery, not going to be as loose. Maybe actually closer to the opposite side of things. It may be a little bit tighter than what we saw last week in Fontana. These cars maybe just drift out a little bit more on the X of the corners. Difference between oversteer and understeer. If it's oversteering, the back of the car snaps out. The back of the car just doesn't have the grip. It wants to drift out a little bit. If it's understeering, if it's tight, the front end won't bite. The front end will lead the car at the racetrack. So keep an eye on the differences there to see what these drivers are dealing with here. Very similar setups throughout this 43 car field. However, people will experience things differently. Some people prefer having a tighter race car, some don't. Those at the front of the field here, I think they're pretty good with whatever comes their way. Those further back will have to do some adjustments here across the 65-lap race. Again, it is the underdog show at the front of the field with Potek and Pace, Ryan Hill, and Jonathan Hernandez. The top 4 there. A lot of your heavy hitters beyond your top 4, Roberts, Howell, Budd, Ryan, McKissick, Solis. They're all in the top 15, but they're going to have to do a little bit of work to get to the front of the field. 3 different lanes you can run here. Outside in the bottom lane, up near the wall, below near the white line. Going to be the 2 preferred lanes. If you're in the middle, good luck. But some drivers will be crazy enough to try it. Looking at, once again, a 2 pit stop race in this field. Fuel windows, 23 to 26 laps. Makes it pretty straightforward. Cut it into thirds. It's about making sure your tires don't cliff before that point. We're going to find out who can do that and who can't. It's Potek in Pace, front of the field. And the UAW Daimler-Chrysler 400 is underway. We're racing in Las Vegas. Good at the front. Larry Pace outside lane, used it to get to the front of the field, but they are still side by side. Potak goes to the top lane now as they go into turn number 1. Car leaving pit lane right now is Chris Champeau. Champeau serving a penalty from Fontana last weekend. Right on board with Hernandez. As he works the outside lane, started in 4th, has stayed up in that outside lane, trying to follow Potak. He's up in the wall. And he slows down significantly. Allows Ryan Hill to get in front of him here. As they come down the back straightaway. Still Potak leading over Pace. Ryan Hill trying to make his charge forward, as is the 15 and the 17. All of them on the outside lane trying to move forward quickly. 3 wide for the lead. Ryan Hill in the middle. Did not earn a lot of friends in the Winstel 400 back in January. Once again using that aggressive streak, almost put Potak in the wall. There's still 3. Larry Pace will drop out of it. Give Ryan Hill a clear shot at the bottom of the racetrack, but Potak not going to be happy about being almost 5th there on lap 4. Caution's trouble. Huge crash in turn 4. Huge crash in 4. Enormous crash in turn 4. 15 cars, count it, more than that involved. That's the big one involved. Includes Sean Peleg, Craig Lautenschlager, the 31 of Corey Cook, Matt Skipper, Jeremy Davis, Nick Doucette, and others. Huge trouble coming to start lap number 5, and it was right on the exit of turn 4 with no one having anywhere to go. There's Jeremy Davis, that number 4 machine, with some battle wounds that need to be repaired. There's the front of the field with some cars coming down pit lane early. Ryan Hill will stay out and will lead this race. Yeah, I think Ryan Hill realizing that he's made a mistake, because he's one of the only ones in the top 20 that stayed out. So here's a replay of what happened coming out of turn number 4 on lap 4. A huge crash. And we're going to see what happens here. It looks like it's a little bit further back. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit further back here. I would say I would look at Nick Doucette, see if we can get a camera focus on the 24 car of Doucette. Because it looks like he's one of the first ones in that accident scene there. Lautenschlager, Peleg, and others involved in this. It looks like it's actually starting with Steve Brown and Philip Snipes. And Philip Snipes almost sent Steve Brown into the catch fence. Melanson, also one of those involved. The 07 of Tyler Murray, 95 of Rory Collins. Riding on board here, I believe we're riding on board with the 97 of Philip Snipes. Yes, we are. Philip Snipes, who started 28th, now down in the 36th, and just gets jacked up off the racetrack there by Melanson, the 36, who also got jacked up off the racetrack, I believe, by Doucette. Unironically, Philip Snipes, one of the ones that got away with the least amount of damage in that. On board with Tyler Murray, the 07 for Richard Childress Racing. Smoke billows, nowhere really to go. He's trying to get out of it. That's a track blocker. You're not really getting out of much of anything there. Looks like he gets away with minimal damage there, the 07. looks like just a little bit of front end damage there on that Monte Carlo. Several cars still on pit lane. Austin Reedy, Corey Steinhauser, Steve Brown, Nick Doucette, Sean Pellet, Corey Cook, Tom Willett, Evan Melanson, all in pit lane there. So car starting to get back to the field will be Steve Brown and Philip Snipes, both of them claiming joint responsibility for that accident. Here's your top 5 going to this restart. Ryan Hill, Jonathan Hernandez, Alex Chokat, Brandon McKissick, and Evan Locke. All 5 of them stayed out under this first caution. 8 cars total stayed out under this caution. It goes down to Ryan Doucette, Gabriel Mauricio, and Jeremy Davis. Davis, who we thought was involved in that accident, got clipped but avoided most of the damage, so he'll stay out. Single file restart here. Everyone that's on the racetrack on the lead lap. And we're back underway here in Las Vegas. And immediately Evan Locke trying to challenge the defending race winner, Brandon McKissick. Team Penske versus Chip Ganassi. Where have I heard that battle before? They're battling for 4th. It's Chokat in 3rd, following Ryan Hill. Jonathan Hernandez in 25. From Dale Earnhardt Incorporated to Hendrick Motorsports. Chokat replacing Corey Cook in the 0 car, getting up to 2nd place. 2 underdog teams right now sitting 1st and 2nd with Hill and Chokat, the 7 and the 0. And it's Hendrick, Ganassi, Penske all over the place. Down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Chokat gets clear of Hernandez. Keep an eye on the 13 of Doucette, Ryan Doucette. There's 2 of them in the field. Ryan the 13, Nicholas Doucette in the 24, still on pit lane following that accident. Through the field here. This is Locke, this is Doucette, this is the 5 of Mauricio. Mauricio, who had a very bad turn of events in Fontana, trying to make better of it. Both of them ahead of the 15 Emily Howe. Christian Budd also in that battle for the top 10 in 10th right now. All them coming down the back straightaway here. It seems like the outside lane, good to a degree, and then it falls apart. Those that did not pit trying to stay on the bottom of the racetrack here. Car very up near the wall. That was Jose Solis Jr. that was up near the wall trying to make a pass around Kyle Benson. It did not work. On board with Davis in the top 10, battling with Emily Howe. Former Winstel 400 winner in the 15 car. Defending Winstel 400 winner just behind, and defending champion in Christian Budd in that 17 car, that Ford Taurus. Here comes the 22, the Pulsatrix, Potak in the middle, putting it 3 wide out of 4. And a little loose. Air buffeting around that 22. That Bill Davis Racing Dodge all over the place, trying to find something to do, trying to find somewhere to go. Jeremy Davis goes up near the wall, as does Hernandez ahead of him. But it's not going to work out for the 4, being 3rd one in line. Potak behind the 5 of Mauricio. There's the 6 of Dylan Roberts, also moving forward. Whoa, Potak almost in the fence, clearing the 4. Car in the apron, 99 of Craig Lautenslager. And he is struggling to get the car. He's just trying to roll around and to score points on some of those that were also involved in that lap 4 accident. I would assume that 99 car has got a very small shelf life at this point. Ryan Hill at the front of the field continues to lead. This is the battle a little bit further back. This is where McKissick's located. So this is just beyond 3rd place. 3 wide again, Descent. And Roberts putting the 25 of Hernandez middle 3. Here comes Jose Solis Jr. from the top to the middle. Mauricio, the Brazilian, up top on the number 5 machine. Hendrick teammates, 25 and the 5, hooked up together. Those two on the racetrack, the 48 and the 24. Dynamic duo of Nick Descent and Sean Peleg will be in pit lane still. We are 4 wide for a moment. And that is a car up near the wall, I believe, slowing down. I believe that was the 2 of Evan Locke. It was. Everyone navigated the 2 car pretty cleanly. Jeremy Davis going to be the next one that most of the field has to navigate. He is falling apart quickly. Those that did not make pit stops under that first caution feeling the older tires now. Clean air, the great equalizer though. Ryan Hill, Brandon McKissick, and Alex Chilcutt still benefiting from the track position game. It is Chilcutt and McKissick side by side for second. Further on back though, it is the Hornets nest that we are so used to seeing. Teammates side by side, the 38 and the 88, Kyle Benson and Christina Ryan, trying to get around Mauricio. And weasel their way into the top 10. Almost 3 wide for second place behind your race leader Ryan Hill. The 6 on fresher tires, Dylan Roberts trying to make his way to the front. McKissick, defending winner of this race, got to the quarter panel of Ryan Hill, couldn't stay there. But it's 2 versus 2, make it 3 on 1 now. Hill covers the bottom. But it gives McKissick clean air. Keep an eye on the 22 further behind. There he is. That's Jacob Potek, the Pulsator, the Dodge for Bill Davis Racing in the top 5. Once again, he's going to join this fray and put himself in the middle. Alongside Dylan Roberts. He clears himself and now goes for the race lead. McKissick got it for just a moment. He will not be able to retain it. Here comes the Pulsator on the charge. And they split the C's in 3 and 4, outside and inside lane. If you're in the middle, you're in trouble. And that's where you find the 38 of Kyle Benson, who is 4 wide for a moment with a defending champion and 2 veterans. And Ryan Descent and Jose Solis Jr., all of them trying to move forward around some of these cars, losing the tire battle. Here in Vegas, we're on lap 20 of 65. And the intensity at the front of the field has picked up. The top 2, now those on fresher tires, the 22 and the 6 of Potak and Roberts. Everyone else playing catch-up. Kyle Benson, fresher tires on that 38 car as well, gets around Chilcutt. Keep an eye on his teammate, Christina Ryan, also trying to make moves around Ryan Descent. And Chilcutt as well. Jose Solis Jr. up near the outside wall, tags the wall, cautions out, second caution of the night. And it looks like cars involved include the 20. And potentially, I'm trying to see all of this correctly, could also include the 95 of Rory Collins here. But I believe it mostly begins with the 20 and the 9. So we'll have to double check here, but we know Brandon Cruz, the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing, involved in that. So he's going to be a central focus when we get a replay of this accident. Second one of the day. And it will stop the bleeding for some of those that stayed out on lap 5. Edmund Ellison, also involved, the 23. Another one to keep an eye on. Here we go. Here's a replay of it. This is Cruz trying to make his way through. That is, ooh, what a tumble there for Ellison. Looks like the 40 also involved in that. Looks like the 40 was the first one to start that spin. Would be Alex Bates, would be the one that was in that spin. Let's double check here. Looking at the replay, oh yeah, it's gonna be the 23 and the 40 here. And McGee kind of stays in his lane. The 23 just drifts up the racetrack there. Just clips the 40. Nowhere for the 77 to go, unfortunately. That's going to be unfortunate for the 77 team. Cruz avoids making that accident a lot worse. What a tumble there for the 23 at Ellison. Second caution of the day, and the entire field came down the pit lane. Free pass went to the 24th, Nick Doucette, who is now only 1 lap down. But that car still pretty wounded for the Hendrick Motorsports team. Edmund Ellison, after his flip, going to be spending a lot of time on pit lane. The 31 of Cook, the 48 of Peleg, the 21 of Tom Willett, all still on pit lane as well as the 36 of Evan Melanson. Steve Brown retiring from this race. Sorry, Steve Brown not retiring. He is still on the racetrack. He's going to get a wave round. Same with Craig Laudenslager. We'll have lap traffic here on this restart, so it will be double file. Lap cars will be to the inside lane, lead lap cars to the outside lane, closer to the wall. Your top 10, bottom of your screen, it is Potak, Roberts, McKissick, Hill, Benson, your top 5. Then your defending champion Christian Budd, Alex Chilcutt, Jose Solis Jr., Ryan Doucette, and Christina Ryan, your top 10. Good-looking cars here in the field. Steve Brown requesting an EOL. Very interesting. Instead of taking a wave round there, it will go to the back of the field. So, here we go, line of stern. 36 cars still on the lead lap. Still a lot of cars left in this race. Got several cars still circulating as well. Steve Brown, Craig Laudenslager, Corey Cook back on track here in the 31 machine. Tom Willett leading pit lane as well, the number 21 car. We saw Nick Doucette back out on track as well. And it looks like Laudenslager will come down pit lane. So we will ultimately end up with a single file restart here. Not what we were expecting, but the Ford Mustang pace car will come down pit lane. Green flag flies, running aboard the defending champion. But it is the 22 of Jacob Potak that leads the way. Car spun, Jeremy Davis. Jeremy Davis on the inside lane. That was on the restart. We'll see if we can get the replay here in just a moment for you. We're going to focus on this restart and make sure everything settles down. Everyone on fresh tires and on cold tires. Going to duke it out. Side by side, it is Potak and McKissick. Dodges lead the way here in Las Vegas. Side by side. As we're going to grab a replay here of the spin for Jeremy Davis, the 4 car, who is now half a lap behind. This is on the restart, and he gets, I believe, he's going to get a little bit of help from Kirk Marble. Yes, he does. Pretty straightforward there. The 16 spinning the 4 around. No caution, though. Car off the racing surface. They will investigate that after the race, though, the Winstel Cup Series stewards. McKissick, we knew he was going to be a threat, but here is the 22, front and center, the Pulsatrix staying up into the front, as is the 6 of Dylan Roberts, who finished 3rd in this race last year. And keep an eye on the 38 of Kyle Benson. His season has started off abysmally in that 38 machine. Right now sitting in 4th, they had Orion Hill and Christian Budd. As they come out of turn number 2. McKissick getting right to the quarter panel there of the 20, or sorry, the 22 of Jacob Potak. Ooh, 22 got really loose there at 4. Car in the wall. Further behind, trying to see who that was. It was Lucas Davila that was in the wall. 34, sitting on your screen. He was in the wall for a second. Looks like a close call there. I want to say that was with another car that was similar in shade. It looks like it might have been the 34 and the 88 of Christina Ryan battling for 9th place. They made a little bit of contact. Davila ends up wearing the most of it. Seems like two cars going for the same piece of real estate. Don't think we'll grab a replay of that since no harm, no foul ultimately. All cars still pointing in the right direction. A very close call there out of turn 4 once again. Turn 4 proving to be a problematic corner. See the 5 of Mauricio there in the 10th spot. He is the gatekeeper to the top 10, up 15 spots in this race. Not the biggest gainer in the field so far. That goes to the debutant, Andrew Ferrinares. The 84 machine up 23 spots in this field so far. In the 84 machine. Doing a pretty decent job so far. Got ahead of Lucas Davila as well. McKissick, though, at the front of the field, trying to find his way around. Jacob Botek, they're still side by side at the front of the field. You see them just up the road. Botek still leads that lap. He has led a majority of this race. McKissick keeping him honest. Couple battles further on down the order as well. You're looking a little further back. You got Davila and Krobach, Coppinger and Locke, Champeau and Pace. Pace has really struggled in this race so far, but he's trying to make his way back forward, down 21 spots. Here's your side-by-side between Davila, the Argentinian, and Anthony Krobach, the Winstel veteran. Oh! Here we go! Oh, huge crash! Krobach up and over. Up and over, caution's out. Krobach sliding down the back straightaway, upside down. Huge crash on the back straightaway out of turn number 2. And that's day done. For Krobach, huge crash. Somehow, only 2 cars involved in that accident. Somehow, I am stunned by that. We're going to grab a replay here for you. Krobach's race officially over. 2 of them battling. Oof. Let's see if we can get an onboard of Davila. I don't know if it was contact that got Krobach loose or if it was just packing the air on the right rear quarter panel. Perfect. Right on board here with the 34. And yep, a little bit of contact right on that right rear quarter. And just sends him all the way up and over. And that's a scary sight. Luckily, most of the field had a chance to react and avoid hitting either T-boning the 34 or sending the 11 into an even scarier flip. Back to live pictures, the field coming down pit lane. We're on lap 35 of 65, 30 laps to go in this race. Evan Locke, the only one that stayed out. Everyone else down pit lane. Everyone knows there's still a pit stop to make in this race. The pit window under green flag conditions is 23 to 26 laps. Right now we're at 31 laps to go. So obviously that's not going to be enough for the field to be able to make any headway before having to make a pit stop late in this race as things go. Evan Locke about to experience what the rest of the field experienced on the opening restart, and that is that the older tires do not hold up well. They age like milk. Importantly, and perhaps not gaining a lot of friends, Evan Locke staying out prevents the likes of Sean Peleg, Steve Brown, and Craig Lautenslager from getting a free pass. And actually, Evan Locke, after leading a lap, comes down pit lane. So Evan Locke thinking bonus points, 5 bonus points for leading a lap. He's done that, and so now we'll go to the 48, the 43, and the 99 to get those waiver rounds and join the lead at the end of the field. They're going to stay laps down here. They spend a lot of time on pit lane. But when you have incidents like that with Davila and Krobach, a chance to gain some points and make something out of nothing in what was already a bad day from lap 4. Here's a look at your top 20, bottom of your screen. Kyle Benson will be your race leader over Jose Solis Jr. We've seen this battle before. Inley Howe in third, Christina Ryan in fourth. A very interesting two-tire stops for everyone in this top 5 group. Ryan Dessette in fifth. And then it's Gabriel Mauricio, Jonathan Hernandez, Jacob Potek, McKissick. That's where you start seeing those with the 4-tire stops. Dylan Roberts in 10th. Expect that to be an interesting fight here as we look at the last 28 laps of this race. Ryan Hill, Christian Budd, Alex Chilcutt, Jordan Barabee, and Andrew Ferrinares in the top 15 at the moment. A couple rookies there in that top 15. Andrew Ratcliffe, Brandon Coppinger, Kirk Marble, Mike Rasmus, Chris Champeau, your top 20. They've extended the pace lap, the caution by a lap here to allow the wave around cars to catch up to the tail of the field and get everyone reordered and shuffled together here in Las Vegas. So it will be Kyle Benson looking for his first Winstel Cup Series win in modern history. Actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this would be his first win in Winstel, period, if he can get it to happen. Similar situation like what we saw with Larry Pace last year in Atlanta. One of those veterans that have been in and around Winstel for years, but have not been able to break through. It's going to be very interesting to watch this all play out here. Evan Locke, who led that lap and came down a lap later on the pit lane, will drop down to 29th place. Interestingly, very interestingly, some cars coming down and stopping off and topping off with fuel. We're on lap 37 of 65. I still don't think that's enough to get you that far, but it's not far away. You're still about 3 laps shy on fuel if this thing goes green to the finish. Your anticipation is that it's not going to go green. In which case you can save that extra fuel. But we're going to find out. We've seen some wild things here at Las Vegas in the history in the past, not just here on AVN screens. Well, in the prolonged history here in Las Vegas, going back all the way into the late 1980s. Very interesting racetrack in its history. Kyle Benson trying to write his own little piece of it. He leads the field to green ahead of Jose Solis Jr. and Emily Howe and Christina Ryan and Ryan Dessette. Green flag flies in the UAW. Daimler-Chrysler 400 is back underway, and Jose Solis Jr. wasting no time going after the 38 of Benson. And Solis, so good on the throttle, getting to that restart, and cautions out again. Got ahead and got to the race lead. And huge crash. Oh, that's a hard hit. That is, if I'm not mistaken, that's a silver bullet once again, Alex Bates. In the fence. Not Krovac, that was Chris Champeau, the 18, the Interstate Batteries car. So trouble there. Solis will be the race leader. Got an amazing restart on that and just beat Kyle Benson to the punch. We're going to replay here in a moment as the field catches up to the pace car for what is now our 4th caution of the night. Here's a look at the replay from the restart. Second restart crash, by the way, we've had so far tonight, and this is going to be a little bit 3 wide. Obviously not a great look there. Everyone just being a little bit aggressive on that restart. And it's going to end up being Champeau that spins around sideways and Alex Bates who gets the worst of it. And Champeau was just trying to close in, and Champeau's had a rough day as it is. Served a penalty, ended up being a lap down initially on that restart, on the initial race start, because of a similar situation that happened in Fontana a week ago. Tyler Murray's putting his hand up saying that he was involved, that he was the cause of that caution. I don't think that was the case. Champeau closed down on a 3-wide situation, and that just was not going to work out. Rory Collins, good onboard look from the 95, and he's going to go for a spin. I believe that was by Steve Brown. Hopefully the 95. It looks like the 95 avoided most of the damage there on that. We'll get an exterior look here. It looked like he got to a stop without hitting anything, which you don't often get away with here. Yeah, he got hit by Steve Brown there. And no, he's the one that ended up backing into the 40 of Alex Bates. So a little bit of damage there. Here's the 07. Here's a good onboard of Tyler Murray. Remember, he's got a car behind him. Look at the inside. That was Alex Bates that was behind him. And Champeau. That is hard. That is going to be hard to look at here. Here's a good slow motion shot. Oh, there you go. That's a really good look at the bobble that Tyler Murray had. Probably because the 40 was packing air on the left rear as Champeau was coming down on him here. And he just wobbles it up a little bit. That's going to be... We didn't see that in this picture initially. It's very subtle on the outside look. But yeah, Tyler Murray put his hand up for it. That might actually be correct. That might actually be legitimate there for Tyler Murray. I think he was kind of... Obviously, he would know more than we would, being behind the wheel of that 07 car. We thought it was Champeau kind of squeezing a little bit like what we saw from him in Fontana. No, Tyler Murray, just a little loose. And both the 40 and the 18 paid the price for it, though. Both of them up in the wall on the 4th restart of the race. So good job by Tyler Murray by putting his hand up and being like, hey, kind of bird's eye view on that one. And it'll line us up for our 4th restart of the race. It'll be Solis, Benson, Hal, Christina Ryan, and Ryan DeSapp in the top 5 on this restart. Still single file. And for those that need to save fuel, those that topped off on that last caution, fuel-wise, they're good to go. Do we see another caution from here, though? If we do, everyone else is also good to go. That is the magic question. Green flag is back out here in Las Vegas. Big checkup further back in the field. Philip Snipes in that checkup area. But they all get through. For now. Side by side, further up the field, it is Dessette on Ryan. 4-4. Christina in the 88, Dessette in the 13. Here comes Mauricio looking in that number 5. Caution's out. And the field freezes. 5th one tonight. And we've got a pretty big crash at a turn 4. Looks like it is around, would have to look around Lottenslager here, the 99. Ends up in trouble here. And that car is all sorts of damaged. Looks like Steinhauser also, ooh, huge hit. That is the 95. Lottenslager gets a piece of it later on, but that is the 95 of Rory Collins and the 07 of Tyler Murray. And Collins in the 95 just really knocked the wall down there in 3 and 4. Rory Collins is currently in the 30th spot. He'll come down pit lane here to get repairs. Oh, he gets loose entering the corner. Looking here. We'll see if we can get an onboard of Tyler Murray again. His onboard is pretty popular, the Jack Daniels 07. Collins just knocks the wall down hard, pancakes that wall. Nowhere for Tyler Murray to go. He's just kind of watching the 95 go around. We'll see if we can get an onboard here, the 07 once again. It'll be a big indicator there. Roy Collins, remember, he's got some damage as well. And that actually was a little bit of contact there for the 07 of Murray. Oof. That was a little bit of contact. Just trying to bump draft him there in the corner. And it just sent him for a ride. And Tyler Murray almost went for a flip across the nose of Lottenslager. So Lonsleger, I believe his race is effectively pretty much over at this point. Tyler Murray trying to claim there was latency. Winstel officials saying that it'll be reviewed post-race to make sure that it was actually latency. Very interesting. And this is important, so we'll kind of discuss this because this is Winstel rules. This is a little bit different than what we see normally. So when you claim an incident, you get two. You basically get a warning, which you claim an incident, you go to the end of the line. If you're the cause of another incident, you're parked for the rest of the race. Tyler Murray already claimed one. He claimed the one with Champeau and Alex Bates. So if this is the second one, he'd be parked, which would be obviously not great right now. It's obviously not been a great race for him anyway. He's 32nd. Sorry, 33rd behind Chris Champeau. But it would prevent him from finishing the rest of this race. As crazy as this race has devolved into so far, if he ends up getting parked and we have a huge crash again like what we did at the start of this race, he would miss out on a huge amount of points. So that's why he's kind of like, hey, gonna kind of let them review to see if there was netcode there. You might have a case with Rory Collins being as damaged as he was. Obviously, we'll know about that more a little bit later on in the race. If that's the case, then he's going to have a 1-lap penalty to serve in Bristol, which is going to actually end up being a 2-lap penalty with how quick those laps are. Lap cars in the inside lane is Corey Cook and Sean Peleg. It is Jose Solis Jr. and Kyle Benson leading us to the green flag. 5th restart of the night here in Vegas. "20 laps to go. We are in the window now. No one really came down the pit lane other than those that had damage. But those that came in and got that damage fixed and took some tires and fuel, they're good to the finish. This is front of the field. Think they're good. If we have a green white checkered, if we have that point of no return that we had at Fontana, it's going to be a problem. Middle 3 wide, McKissick up to 3rd. Got around the lap car of Corey Cook and the 15 Emily Howe. Remember, the lap cars 31 and then 48. They are not battling for position. They just started in the inside lane, gave them a chance to battle for the lap back. They're too wounded to really have a chance, but give them a chance. Everyone pushing hard. You know that the laps are counting down at this point. Looking right now, 18 laps to go. It is Solis over Benson, over McKissick, over Howe, over Doucette. Pulsatrix, Jacob Potek, 22 and 6th. Rolling around here in Las Vegas, 17 to go. It is all eyes on Jose Solis Jr. Can he win here in Las Vegas and put a stop to the winning streak that has been done by Brandon McKissick the last 2 years? Side by side, teammates of the 17 and the 6th. That was Dylan Roberts and Christian Budd. A little bit more side by side. That's Ratcliffe, Jeremy Davis, and the 31 of Corey Cook. They're following the 66 of Coppinger. Rolling around here, they are just outside the top 10. Everyone all over the place trying to push these tires for all they're worth at the moment. Riding on board with the 7 of Ryan Hill in the top 10 and 8th. Started this race in 3rd. See that at the bottom of your screen. He is trying to work his way forward, looking at the bumper of Gabriel Mauricio, Brazilian, a former Daytona 500 winner here in the Winstel circuit. Mauricio having a good day as well. Hill ahead of Hernandez and Dylan Roberts. You see the 25 of Hernandez, and there's the 6 of Roberts. Good sight line of both of those cars. Defending champion Christian Budd currently outside the top 10, battling with Christina Ryan for that 11th spot. Debutant Andrew Ferrinares sitting in the 12th spot, getting around the 88 as well. Battling for that top 12 position. Down the back straightaway here. As laps tick away, we're getting closer and closer to 10 laps to go. Center of your screen, this is really this battle for the 4th spot. Hal, Potak, Doucette, Mauricio, Ryan Hill on this group. Doucette really loose and will lose several spots. Lost out to Ryan Hill, will lose out to Dylan Roberts as well. And here comes the 25 of Hernandez. So really bad loss there for Ryan Doucette. Meanwhile, it's side by side for 2nd place. Down the back straightaway into 3, and McKissick will just breeze on by the 38 of Kyle Benson. Benson, though, looking for a season best result so far. 3 wide, just behind for 5th. It's Potak, Mauricio, and Hill across the line, 3 wide. Emily Hell ahead of them for 4th. Ryan Hill shoots through the inside lane for 5th. But here comes Mauricio getting back to the bottom. Trying to over-under. Potak will push the number 7 Machina Hill. And the 7 will stay clear. Ten laps to go here in Las Vegas. McKissick trying to chase down Solis. And it is a scramble to try to get into the top 10. Christian Budd currently in the top 10 at the moment. He is in 10th, ahead of Hernandez, trying to make his charge forward and pick up some very precious and valuable points. McKissick right there, right on the bumper of Solis. Not a whole lot lost between these two at the front of the field. They're going to race each other hard. McKissick, though, just has a way better run. He's going to get right to the quarter panel of the 29. Dodge versus Chevrolet, front of the field. Solis will try to get to the quarter panel and side draft him. At a 4. McKissick so good in these closing runs here in Las Vegas especially. I've mentioned it so many times throughout this broadcast already. He is the defending winner. He has won the last 2 years, trying to go 3 years in a row here in Vegas. He's got the race lead right now. Just set his best lap of the race. And he's going to walk away from Solis here. I don't think Solis has got anything for him. They both pit on the same lap. Both of them took 4 tires. No, excuse me, sorry. McKissick took 4, Solis took 2. So that's the effect. Solis took 2 tires on that pit stop. McKissick took 4. Next car that took 4 is Ryan Hill. The 7 car also closing in on Kyle Benson. 4 tires for Jacob Potak as well, and Dylan Roberts in the 6. And you're seeing that beginning to have shape and have effect here. Side by side for 3rd. Potak sideways with Emily Howell for 5th. Very crazy here. Solis coming down pit lane. Solis does not have fuel. He's coming down pit lane. Radio message just came down. The 29 will not be able to make it on fuel, and it's going to be tight coming down pit lane. A little bit of contact there between Kyle Benson and Ryan Hill as Solis comes down pit lane. His good result will be undone, and that gives McKissick fresh leeway. The biggest question, Solis could not make it on fuel, 5 to go. Did anyone else that pit on lap 34 save enough fuel to make it. You have to look all the way down to Mike Rasmus. He's in lap 39. He'd be the first one that you can assure is good to go on fuel at this point. Rasmus, does he have what it takes? Gonna be a very interesting question there. And you see Solis coming out of pit lane after that splash and dash, already a lap down in 33rd. Ryan Hill trying to chase down the 42 and McKissick. And everyone else trying to run this to the finish. 3 laps to go, 4.5 miles in play. Here's your battle for third. Benson and Potak. Fuel mileage is key. Everyone right now in the top 10 under a giant question mark. Did they save enough to get to the end of this race? And can we get this under regulation? Do we need that point of no return? Do we need that green white checker? 2 laps to go, 3 miles from knowing the answers in Las Vegas. Still side by side for third. And keep an eye on the lurker. Number 5 of Gabriel Mauricio. Seeing if these two make a little bit of contact here. See if the door opens for him. It will stay open for him to try to get around Benson. It won't work though. Coming to the white flag. For 2 years, he's been deniable. Brandon McKissick will try to go 3 in a row here in Vegas. 1 lap to go, 1.5 miles. Hill in second on an island. Then you got your battle for third. Benson holding on to the top 5 at the moment, ahead of Mauricio and Dylan Roberts. Ahead to 4 for the final time. Out of turn 4, it is going to be Brandon McKissick. 3 in a row, 3 years running. He dominates Las Vegas at the end when it matters. Everyone makes it to the finish on fuel. Ryan Hill and Jacob Potak round out your podium. Cal Benson, best result of the season, a 4th place effort ahead of Gabriel Mauricio. Dylan Roberts, Emily Howell, Ryan Dissett, Larry Pace, and the debutant Andrew Ferry-Nares round out your top 10. Fantastic run there at the finish. Brandon McKissick ends up winning this race. Nick Dissett got back on the lead lap there, ends up in 25th place. One of the best recovery drives of the race there for the 24 car in the 25th position. It actually ended up gaining based on where he started this race. McKissick, though, will get to tear it down on the front straightaway here in Vegas. Very familiar sights for McKissick. Fantastic job for the 42 camp. Did not lead the most laps, but led the ones that mattered at the end of the race. And dominates, as he said he wanted to do, to win his 3rd race in a row in Las Vegas. We'll hear from McKissick, Hill, and Potak in just a couple minutes. But a good run there for Brandon McKissick. Once again, a race winner, and once again in Las Vegas, undeniable. We'll pull up the full results here in a moment. But a wild job there. McKissick will actually blow the engine in the process. But what a great job that they did there to not only finish that under green. That could have been a lot worse. Like, a lot of drivers could have run out of fuel at the end. And instead, it was just Jose Solis Jr. that had to come down pit lane of those that were at the front of the field. Potak, another podium there after winning in Fontana last week. He'll get a 3rd place to follow that up. Here's your top 10 as they run. McKissick, Hill, Potak, Benson, Mauricio, Roberts, Howell, Dissett, Pace, and Ferry-Nares. Your top 10 here in Las Vegas. A great job for all 10 of them. Ferry-Nares, biggest mover in this race, did a fantastic job. Ended up gaining almost, 28 spots based on where he started this race down in 38th position. To the top 10 he goes. A fantastic effort for him. We'll cover the rest of the field here after interviews here. We'll go ahead and we'll talk to third place finisher, our pole sitter, Jacob Potak, who had a very interesting race here in Las Vegas. Jacob, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you get a copy?
I do. Thank you.
What a wild race for you. Pole sitter of this race, led a decent amount of the laps, and strategy ended up being rule of the day. Walk us through your race in the 22 Dodge.
Yeah, it was a doozy. I'm lucky to not be crashed. It was really tough. Yeah, the two tires were really good. A lot better than I thought they'd be, and just got mired back in the pack. We'll come down pit road first, come out 13th. Just classic Winstel, but that's why you love it. And it was definitely really tough. Made some really, I'd say, ballsy moves, but everybody was really good at giving space when needed, and cut it close a lot of times, but didn't die, so it's a success.
You did a fantastic job, obviously getting back up to third place here at the end, having to deal with the two tires that really held on really well there. A phenomenal run of form, though. Obviously, setting aside Daytona, you look at a win at Fontana last weekend, a third place here in Las Vegas after a wild turn of events there, just to get back up to the third place, battling out with the likes of, Kyle Benson, Gabriel Mauricio, Dylan Roberts to get up to that spot. Got to be feeling really confident here. You said you wanted to try to make a full-time run at it this season. This is a good way to kick it all off here. What's the momentum like there in that 22 camp, and looking forward, you got a couple more difficult races coming up, for Bristol especially coming up next weekend, to try to keep that run going and try to put together those consistent results that will ultimately give you a chance to lock into the chase for the Winstel Cup. Yeah,
that's the goal. Bristol I'm really excited about. It's my favorite track. They did do a refresh of it, brought up to 2025 stands last week, so we're going to go there, find out what the differences, and see if I still got it. But really excited to try, and that's the track I circle on the calendar every year, so going into there with a lot of momentum is certainly where I want to be.
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the next three races, all of them refresh as well. Bristol, Homestead, and Darlington, the next three races. And then North Wilkesboro, the wild card race coming up there on April 13th. A lot of different races there, a lot of different types of racetracks there. You got short tracks at Bristol and North Wilkesboro. You got your track too tough to tame there at Darlington. You've got Homestead, which is going to be another, all-out, throw-down slugfest there that we normally see at these mile and a halves. This 22 car has come alive on these mile and a halves. Is there an inkling, is there a feeling that this could not only be a multi-win season, but this could, you could end up possibly being points leader by the time we get to that Easter break there on April 20th?
That'd be really nice, but it can also crash out with the next races too. So we're going to smile when it's good and keep our head up when it's down. But I really love the short tracks more than anything. So I felt like if you had to ask me before the season, that you'd be telling me, glad you got the mile and a half out of the way, now you're on to your short tracks. So I feel nothing but good about it.
Well, you've got a lot to keep an eye on there for that Bill Davis Racing Dodge 22 car in third place after a win in Fontana. A phenomenal effort here. Before we let you go and let you obviously celebrate the podium and get ready for Bristol in next week's event, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations again on another podium, 2 in a row to kick off the season.
Yeah, thanks. Well, definitely want to shout out you guys. I was really excited those final laps when I realized third place was a possibility, because then I get to talk to you guys. So thanks for having me, and thanks for the awesome broadcast. And I want to shout out those left side tires for being too darn good. That had me upset, but besides that, no, that's it. So thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. Jacob Potak, the third place finisher here in Las Vegas. He moves on to Bristol with a hand on the championship lead after 3 races. Jacob, congratulations, and we'll see you in Tennessee.
Thanks, guys.
That was the 22 of Jacob Potak, third place finisher there. We'll move on to second place finisher Ryan Hill, who did a fantastic job as well. Held on and did a fantastic job to get into that second spot. Ryan, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you get a copy?
Hello.
That was a wild race for the 7 car. It seemed like that 7 car was going to break through at some point. 3 wide moves. strategy, different calls, everything sort of came together and came alive for that Jerez number 7. Walk us through your race, though, especially that final restart, knowing you had to get through a lot of cars on 2 tires.
Yeah, sooner or later, I was going to come talk to y'all. It was just a matter of time. Never would have thought it would have taken place at Las Vegas, but somehow I am good here. I got my first RTP win here, so I don't know. I kind of thought 4 tires was, I always like 4 tires. I hate 2 tires, and there's a lot of people here that love 2 tires that normally I get caught up behind them when they do that. I just needed laps, really, just for their tires to go away, and fortunately had enough laps to get those or get past them, and then just didn't have enough at the end to catch Brandon up there.
We were talking about it up here in the booth. You know, the 2 tire versus 4 tire stop was a very interesting. Obviously, track temp not as hot here as it was in Fontana a week ago. That may have contributed to those 2 tires lasting a little bit better than they would have, you know, likewise at, you know, Fontana or Homestead. The 4 tires did come through, though. McKissick, yourself, Potak, all 3 of you on the 4 tire stop. That prevailed. All 3 of you got to the podium places there. You mentioned earlier you didn't imagine Vegas being the place where you got your first podium of the season. Why was that? What makes Vegas sort of that anomaly for you?
I honestly have no idea. Sorry. It's a lot of tracks like we go to that you have to, there's a big, I guess the way iRacing words it is there's a big fall off or a cliff. A lot of those tracks that we go to, naturally, I guess I'm just a halfway decent tire saver. I've had to learn a lot over the last few years with RTP, and luckily a lot of that's come through here as far as saving tires and track positions and all that. And for whatever reason, it just concrete tracks and tracks that have a huge cliff, I'm halfway decent at that in super speedways, but you know, that's over the course is either do good or wreck there.
Yeah. It looked like, because we saw the 7 car, the 7 car had pace at Fontana. It showed up a little bit more here. You look at the span of the next 4 races here. We talked with Potak. Potak's excited for Bristol next week, which is a concrete track, so it's going to lead right perfectly into this conversation. You have 4 races coming up: Bristol, Homestead, Darlington, and North Wilkesboro. All of them, in some way, shape, or form, tire eaters. With you kind of showing up here and showing that, hey, we've got the strategy calls correct here, we're also able to kind of save these tires and get them to work correctly. Is there an upward trajectory for the 7 car here to try to, you know, not only get more podiums, but to contend more for those race wins? We see some drivers kind of pop in and out. Seems like you and the 22 seem to be 2 of the more consistent drivers, and the 42, as far as being able to make those tires work in these strategy situations.
Right. Well, last year I actually had my first attempt at Bristol, and that ended up being like my second best finish. So Bristol, I'm excited for going back to. I don't know what I do at Homestead. I really don't understand what I do wrong there. I guess it's because I don't like going to the top, and you have to run the top. I'm a bottom feeder, and I'm bad there. Darlington, I'm okay with. And North Wilkesboro, I'm not 100% sure on. But, you know, either way, I know that got a good car behind me now, and I keep showing up and doing like this, then hopefully somebody will have to watch out for the 7 car come to chase.
That's obviously the big goal there, and for Bristol, that refresh that came up, a lot of people have been saying the bottom lane might be the favorite lane to be in when we head there next week for a longer race, 175 laps for that. So you got some time to figure it out. A phenomenal job, though, for the 17 here tonight, though, as we look again towards Bristol next weekend. Before we let you go, as is customary here on ABN, if you want to shout out anyone, say thank you to anyone here, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a second place finish, and hopefully the first of many conversations we get to have with you here across the 25 race season.
Yeah, I sure hope so. First and foremost, thank you for you guys for putting everything on. You know, I come back and rewatch the stream every single week, and it's always fun to sit here and watch it. Obviously, Winstel and everybody and all the admins, even though I still have a disagreement with them from last week, but you know, we all have fun and games. But love them all. Love everybody coming in here and have fun and BS. I know they like to put up with me a little bit, but you know, everybody on the racetrack, everybody does it. The 7 car, I guess Bell helmets or Impact helmets, whoever Robbie Gordon gives me helmets, because I've been throwing a lot of those, or I get them thrown at me. If I don't do good, that's kind of the threat of the contract. So You know, we all like to have a little bit of fun, so I won't hold up. You got a winner to go talk to, but I just appreciate all of y'all for everything you do, and hope to see y'all more often.
And we have so as well that 7 car looks fantastic. The hair is number 7, second place here tonight. Ryan Hill, podium here in Las Vegas, looking to get a little bit more in Bristol. Ryan, congratulations, and we'll see you next week in Bristol.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
That was Ryan Hill, the 7 car, second place finish there for Ryan Hill. Optimistic towards Bristol. He was a bottom feeder at Bristol last year, got one of his best results of the season last year. The refresh could be a bottom-based racetrack there next weekend for 175 laps. It's going to be a longer race next weekend as well, one of the crown jewel races in the calendar. We will move on, though, to the race winner. He called a shot last week, said he wanted to win this race for the 3rd year running. He does that after finishing on the podium in Fontana. He wins here in Las Vegas. Brandon McKissick, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yes.
A fantastic effort. Not the best qualifying effort. Qualified this race in 12th. Didn't matter. You were there when it mattered most. 4 tires over 2 tires. We saw that work out the way it did with the podium all being 4-tire takers. Walk us through that strategy call for you. What gave you the inkling that that was the correct strategy call, and then having to battle through the traffic to get through all the 2 tires that were holding on for dear life?
So I knew it was the right call because I was pretty good. I mean, I didn't practice much, and that showed in Q, but I didn't know how to do it first. But after that first run, and especially the second run I had when I was on 2 tires, when they were on 4, or I stayed out period when people took 2. But
yeah.
Either way, when they were around me and passing me, I knew that I looked pretty good because this car just in general drove in a way that I'm used to. Just across the surface in the A and B car, just hadn't had to hit lines and stuff. So I was comfortable with it. The more and more, the longer it went. So later in the race, when we got that caution, I knew to take 4 because I just wanted to put myself on offense. Because I'm always a believer that when I have a good car, I want to be the one on attack, not defending myself.
Yeah.
And basically negating my advantage of being fast with people on better tires than me. So I was able to thankfully catch a 20-lap green flag run to end the race, and that was just enough time for the 2 tires to wear off and for me to be able to easily pass them. So I just got lucky that they didn't wreck as much as they were earlier in the race. So that benefited me greatly.
Yeah, that was a huge talking point there. Also, we ended up with 5 cautions in this race, but we did get that long green flag run at the end. You talked about having the pace here in Las Vegas to try to go and get that 3 in a row that you were aiming for there. Walk us through sort of how different this race was, though. With Fontana, it was scorching heats, 130-degree heats on the track. Here it was no more than 90. How much of a different feeling was this car compared to what it was in Fontana? Because both of them seem to fit you pretty well.
This definitely fits me way better. Honestly, in Auto Club, I was just kind of guesstimating the entire race of how it's supposed to drive, but I never felt super comfortable in that combo. But this, with the increased on-throttle time, this fits my style more on this tire because I'm just used to it more from the other vehicles we usually run here. Plus, this car is kind of awkward for me when there's more off-throttle time, so it just feels kind of weird in corner entry. So the fact that I could keep throttling it and keep the nose pointed the entire way around the track and really just hit the bottom and save tires, just really, it all honestly played into my advantages in terms of my driving style on this tire model. So all of that suits me very well here, and I think that's why I was able to win 3 straight here. Because I thought I definitely wasn't going to be honest. Like when I woke up this morning, I was like, there ain't no shot I'm getting 3 in a row here. It's not happening. But obviously it did, so I was able to focus up and play to my advantages.
Well, they definitely they definitely fought you for it. Potak fought you for it. Ryan Hill was trying to catch you up there. Obviously, Benson and those in the 2 tires definitely trying to hold you up there. You called your shot from Fontana and said you were going for that 3 in a row, and you ended up getting it here in Las Vegas. The next 4 races going to be critical as far as establishing that consistency. Bristol next weekend, a longer race than normal, 175 laps there in Thunder Valley. Then we have Homestead, Darlington, and North Wilkesboro. 3 of those tracks just got refreshes from the most recent update build. What are we looking at as far as the 42 car trying to continue the performance like this? 2 podiums in a row, podium and a race win. Does that have a chance of continuing at Bristol, or are we looking at, like, do you look at Homestead as being like a track to kind of keep that momentum going?
For this particular car, Vegas is probably my best track, only because it just fits my style. It just drives like the other cars the most. But that being said,
I am obviously pretty good usually at Bristol and really good at Homestead here just because it's a 1.5 miles. I can just use some nuances to pass a couple guys that I wouldn't at other tracks. But that being said though, you might not see me at Bristol next week because I'm going to the Rio Homestead race, so I might not make the Winstel race that week. So the points lead will probably be relinquished after that, but I will be here for the week after that. So you'll see me again then, and I'll just try to pick up where I left off hopefully, and just make up for the missed race if I do not show up.
Well, you do have the drop week coming up as well, which would end up ultimately being Bristol if you do miss it. Homestead being the next race, and then Darlington and North Wilkesboro being the next two before we get our first break of the season for Easter. Before we let you go and let you celebrate your race win and obviously get ready for that upcoming trip to Homestead for the NASCAR race next weekend, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. It was fantastic watching that 42 car carve it up from 12th on the grid to get that race win 3 in a row here in Las Vegas. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it definitely was fun. So I'd like to thank, first of all, you guys for broadcasting the race, putting on a great broadcast every week. Secondly, I would like to thank Winstel for putting on these races every week. This is probably the best setup we had of the year. Very balanced and very fun, and it was an enjoyable race. Obviously, we didn't get any green flag stops, unfortunately, but it was still enjoyable at the end, as always. We finished it out without a GWC, so grateful for that. And last but not least, I'd like to thank anybody and anyone who does support me week in, week out. So, yeah.
A fantastic drive for car 42. Brandon McKissick goes 3 years in a row, victorious in Las Vegas. If we don't see him in Bristol, we'll see him again in Homestead in 2 weeks' time. Brandon, enjoy the race win. Enjoy the trip to the race next weekend. And obviously, we'll be seeing you hopefully with a lot more conversations across this season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was Brandon McKissick, your race winner here in Las Vegas. 3rd year in a row for the 42 camp. Let's see if we can go ahead and go through the full results one more time. We went through the top 10 earlier. We'll go ahead and glance over them one more time here. It was McKissick, Brian Hill, Jacob Potak, Kyle Benson, your top 4. Gabriel Mauricio at top 5 as well over Dylan Roberts, Emily Howell, Ryan Doucette, Larry Pace, and Andrew Ferry-Nares in your top 10. Ferry-Nares, the biggest mover of the race, up 28 spots on his debut. Jonathan Hernandez, Alex Chocut, Mike Rasmus, your top 13. Christian Budd, Christina Ryan, top 15 finishes for both of them. They battled most of this race side by side today. Jeremy Davis, after being spun around backwards, ends up positive 23 based on where we started this race, ended up in 16th place. Andrew Ratcliffe in 17th. Kirk Marble, right where he started this race, in 18th place, ahead of Brandon Coppinger, Evan Locke, and Andrew Griesbaum. Sorry, Evan Locke in 20th, Andrew Griesbaum in 21st, excuse me, I misread the numbers there. Griesbaum in 21st though, Jordan Barabee in the 22nd spot in the 04 camp, Matt Skipper, Corey Steinhauser 24th, Nicholas Doucette, after getting damaged significantly on lap 4, unlapped himself, ended up 25th, up 6 spots from where he started this race. Brandon Cruz also spun around and involved in an accident, ends up in 26th. Same with Philip Snipes in the 97, he ends up 27th. Ahead of his former teammate Brendan McGee, the Daytona 500 winner, 28th for him. Tyler Murray in the 07 in the 29th spot. He's got an investigation pending on him. If he's found out to have caused a second caution with Rory Collins, he's got a 1-lap penalty to serve at Bristol. Austin Reedy will round out your top 30, also on the lead lap ahead of Rory Collins. Chris Champeau, your 32nd car running on the lead lap, 1 lap down after having to make a pit stop for fuel. Jose Solis Jr., Alex Bates, and Corey Cook, top 35. Then it's Craig Lautenslager, Sean Peleg, Steve Brown, Lucas Davila, and Anthony Krobach, your top 40. Tom Willett, Edmund Ellison, Evan Melanson, some of the retirements in this race as well. Parker Alexander serving a suspension in that 8 car. Did not start this race. He'll be back in Bristol in just a week's time. That'll do it from us here in Las Vegas. ABN's coverage of the Winstel Cup Series continues next weekend at Thunder Valley Bristol Motor Speedway for the Sharpie 500, 175 laps around the half-mile oval there. We'll be live again on ABN on Wednesday here on Twitch at 8 p.m. We'll be live for the ABN Champ Car World Series from Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. We'll also be live, I do believe, I'll have to double check here, Actually, I don't believe we are live. I think we're off with the Platinum Pilot Series. I think we were live last weekend, so I think we're good on that one. So Wednesday, 8 p.m., ABN Champ Car Barber. Next weekend, next Saturday, 2 p.m., we do have the VRR, Marathon GT World Tour, from Laguna Seca. That's at 2 p.m. And then we have, at 8 p.m., the start of the ARCS High Octane Series. That'll be on YouTube, 8 p.m. from Daytona to kick the season off there. See the second season that the High Octane Series has been on ABN. That'll be on YouTube next Saturday night. Next Sunday, we'll be back here for Bristol at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. And we hope you join us for all of it in between. On behalf of Anity Pulsatrix, my producer behind the computer box, I'm Carmen Sienna. On behalf of Winstel and ABN, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, stay healthy this week. We'll see you again very shortly at one of the many racetracks we visit across the week. So long, everybody.